a journey today and look at markets and trading in a little different way than most are used to. Again, because I have about 45 minutes to 50 minutes to do this today, I am going to take questions at the end, but you can type them in as we go too. If something hits your, a thought hits your mind, you want to ask it, and we'll get to all of those as we go. So, all right, here we go. Let's jump in. Everyone knows the story, right? We all know the story of the tortoise and the hare, but what's the moral of the story, right? Going out too fast out of the gate is rarely sustainable. Slow and steady wins the race. But how many people apply that to trading? Most don't. Most traders are like the hare, trying to have it all right now. Let me share some pretty eye-opening stats with you. 80% of all day traders quit within the first 2 years. Among all day traders, nearly 40% day trade for only 1 month. Within 3 years, only 13% continue to day trade. After 5 years, only 7% remain. The average individual investor underperforms a market index by 1.5% a year. Active traders underperform by 6.5% annually. Day traders with strong past performance go on to earn a strong set of returns in the future, though only about 1% of all day traders are able to predictably profit net of fees. And then profitable day traders make up a small portion of all traders, about 1.6% in an average year. After seeing those stats, I can understand how it may be a little discouraging, and many of you can probably relate to some of them. I know I was just like that. I was in a lot of those camps when I first got started, and like a lot of traders are. What I'm going to share with you today is different, in a different way of looking at the markets. In fact, for many of you, a different way of looking at trading as a complete whole. But those have been around the block for a little while. They've been in the game. You guys are going to immediately see the power of the trading philosophy, the strategy that I'm going to share with you today. If you want more consistent income from your trading, you have to have a strategy for consistent, healthy returns. It's the tortoise and the hare story all over again. Slow and steady wins that race over and over. And that's why when you look at the wealthiest investors of our time, people like Warren Buffett, Carl Icahn, Ray Dalio, and others, their approach is smart, healthy, and consistent income. They find an edge and they use it to their advantage to create asymmetric risk and reward. And that's why Warren Buffett is famous for his 2 rules. Rule number 1, never lose money. And rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. So part of what I want to do today is really put you in the driver's seat and show you the complete package of how to set up a consistently profitable trading business, complete with my own trade examples. Now, let me start by sharing some of the things that I wish that I learned when I first started trading. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be complicated. And it certainly doesn't need to take a lot of time. Because when most people start trading, they think that you need all this sophisticated software, these chart setups, 15 monitors, and on and on. And it really is complicated the way a lot of people teach it. And as humans, we tend to make things more complicated than they have to be. I've been guilty as much as anybody else, but I learned a long time ago the lesson of the power of simplicity, and it's paid off 100 times fold for me, both in trading and my businesses. In fact, I'm not embarrassed to admit that I still don't know most of what all the Greeks and the combinations like the double diagonal spread or reverse iron albatross actually mean. I've actually found that the more complicated I made trading and investing, the less money that I made and the more effort that it takes to manage. So on the contrary, the more simple the strategies with a very good slight edge, the more money that I made. So let me give you an idea of what I mean. Did you know that it's incredibly easy to put the odds of winning in your favor just by the type of trade you select to do before you ever even place the trade? Did you know that there are strategies that make money for you no matter what the market does? And have you ever wondered how companies like Goldman Sachs and others just seem to, quote unquote, print money? And lastly, have you ever thought there has to be a better, easier, less time-consuming way to make money in the market? See, your goal is not to beat the big guys, because in reality, you can't. You can't be faster than the pros and the quants. They run fiber optic lines. They spend millions to run those to their trading floors, so their trades execute a half second faster. But what you can do is win by trading in the margins, not with them and not against them. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. You're going to learn that you can beat the big guys because you're smaller and more nimble and you don't have to play their game. But first, a little background. Yeah, that's me. A little over 20 years ago, I started my first business with nothing. I had to work 3 other jobs to make ends meet. I was doing kids' birthday parties on the weekends, dressing up like Blue's Clues and other characters. I was serving at a high-end steakhouse and bouncing in a nightclub. My typical day would go from about 5:30 a.m. till about 1 a.m. For a short time, I lived in my Mazda until I moved into my aunt's basement and eventually slept on the floor of an apartment. And there's a pic of the Red Avenger, as I used to call her right there. My business did eventually make me some money, about $1,000 a month after expenses. And the other jobs helped me to pay the bills, but I was nowhere near where I wanted to be. And I sat down one day and I thought deeply about what I wanted. And I realized I knew that I needed to learn what I did not know. And so then I decided to take action on what to do about it. And I went on a 5+ year journey to learn from the most successful and wealthy. And during this time, I sold that first business and I made essentially nothing on it. I went to work in the Fortune 500 space in sales and was very successful, but I spent every extra moment and weekends learning and traveling to meet people like Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, and networking to meet with millionaires and several billionaires, all with one goal: to learn the best secrets and processes for success in all areas of life. As I learned these things and I put them into practice, I started to have even better results. I started investing in real estate and other businesses, some of which I still own today, and teaching people what I learned. After enough prodding, I wrote a book about it that became a bestseller called The 10-Year Career. And because of putting what I learned into practice, I've been fortunate to do business with, speak to, and work with many of the world's largest companies and organizations, and travel the world to dozens of countries and places, as well as have companies that have been on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies in Entrepreneur 360 7 times. But the greatest journey of my life happened about 14 years ago when my wife and I decided to adopt, and eventually, several years later, traveled to China to bring our daughter Hannah home. If anyone here has ever adopted before, you know how much time the process takes, and especially international adoption, you know how much it costs to do everything you need to do to bring your child home. At the time, I was highly invested and leveraged. I had put a huge bulk of my wealth into what became my largest company, and excess cash at the time was really hard to come by. I was determined, though, not to finance my daughter. I wasn't going to take out a loan. I wasn't going to use a home equity line or any of that stuff. So I got back into trading the markets. And my goal was to create a strategy that I could do alongside everything else I had going on. I was working about 80-hour weeks that I could use to fund our adoption. And the 12-minute trading strategies were the result of that. And nowadays, I've been fortunate to sell some of my largest businesses over the years and now focus my time and attention on helping people just like you create financial independence through trading the markets, as well as enjoy spending more time with my family and pursuing one of my passions, Ironman racing, which I'm now ranked top 5% in the world. In fact, it's amazing how Ironman racing, the world's most prominent endurance race, has helped me become a better trader and cement some of the principles that I'm going to share with you today. So let's jump in. I'm going to cover 3 things in 3 parts today. First, I'm going to share the secrets of the rich that I learned over my 5-year journey and how they relate to trading. Second, I'm going to share the 12-minute trading philosophy with you and how in just 3 simple steps, you can change your whole world in trading. Lastly, I'm going to walk you through one of my most popular strategies that I teach, my double monthly income strategy. All right, secrets of the rich. In all of my work with top investors, business leaders, entrepreneurs, I learned a few very important things. First, the successful and wealthy think differently. The successful and wealthy do things differently. The successful and wealthy understand that success is a process, and there are certain secrets that get you to higher levels exponentially faster. And that brings me to secret number 1. Your mind is your most powerful asset you have to become wealthy. Your mind is your most powerful asset to become wealthy. I'll say that again. Your ability to think and find ways of doing things that either build upon what's been taught by those that have come before you, or to take a concept and create a new way of doing it that gives you an edge, is something that we as humans have a unique ability to do. I found that many of the rich and most successful don't always invent entirely new ways of doing things. Instead, many times they look for ways, small or large, to improve upon things and gain a slight advantage. The best investors do just this. They know even the slightest advantage can give an asymmetric, think massive return on risk. This was an important lesson for me to learn and was critical in creating the 12-minute trading strategies, because just by asking how can I create an investment strategy that can consistently pays me a great return and doesn't require me to spend hardly any time doing it, and then I can manage from my smartphone, spurred me to start looking at how I can take common trading strategies and make them more effective for me. All right. Secret number 2, the rich don't work for time, they work for results. This is an important lesson for investors, as it doesn't matter how much time you spend in front of a computer screen looking at charts. What matters is results. I have a confession to make. For all that I've done and that I do, I'm actually pretty lazy. I want to put in the least amount of time possible to get the most results possible. And in trading, that means making the most amount of money possible with the least amount of time. For some people, that's a really hard concept to grasp. It was for me. I'm from the Midwest. We've got that Midwest mentality, that you work hard and long hours to get success. And in today's age, that's just not the case. People become wildly successful just having a large following on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok. I know people that work really, really hard, but they never get ahead. So you not only have to work hard, but smart, and you have to make sure, and this is most important, that what you are working on is the right vehicle to drive the results that you want. The actual time that you put in doesn't matter to anyone. This was so important in creating the 12-minute trading strategies, as you'll see that some of the types of trades give you so much more of an advantage that just by choosing to trade them, you not only stack the odds in your favor, but you also cut the time that you spend in front of a trading screen down by 80% or more. All right, number 3, the rich look for leverage. This is one of my favorites, and it goes with the last secret of focusing on results. Leverage, simply put, means to do more with less. In order to grow your results larger and larger, you must be able to leverage your time and resources to do exponentially more. That means get the results of 10 hours of work in 5 minutes. And yes, you can do that every day. My results and the results of people that I've taught over the world for well over a decade now have proven this. And leverage can come in a lot of forms, right? Businesses build systems, intellectual property rights, trademarks, patents, rental property, right? With rent that comes in every month, books. This presentation, you guys are going to get the recording of it, right? It can be watched over and over. That's a form of leverage. And then, of course, in the stock market. So let me give you an example of how this relates to trading and investing. If you think about it, there's not much leverage in buying and holding a stock or option. I know that sounds crazy. What do you mean there's not much leverage in buying a stock or an option, right? So if you think about it though, if you buy a stock or an option, how do you make money? It's not a trick question, right? For the stock, it has to go up. For an option, it has to go in the direction that you bought it for. So for example, if you buy a call, the underlying has to go up. If you buy a put, the underlying has to go down. But if you think about it, a stock or an underlying can go 3 different ways. It can go up, it can go down, or it can stay the same. So that means that just straight up buying a stock or an option gives you a 33% chance of making money. Now, to put that in perspective, the odds of winning a hand in blackjack in a casino are 46.36%. You are literally better off taking your money to the casino versus just buying a stock or an option. All right, secret number 4, the rich are in control. The most successful and wealthy take control of their lives and their wealth. They do not let it be dictated by outside sources or events, and they take full responsibility for their actions and their results. And to me, when I finally understood this, it meant that when it came to building a business or trading strategy, or really anything, you cannot leave any stone unturned. You must set things up to account for everything and have control over the process if you want to be consistently successful. And that's why it wasn't enough just to learn that buying a stock or an option is a bad idea. It was creating a system around all aspects of the trades that I was going to do that would make the difference. And that brings me to part number 2, the 12-minute trading system. In this section, I'm going to show you how to set yourself up for better success in your trading and investing. I'm also going to show you a unique way of looking at investing in the markets that you're not going to hear anywhere else. All right, with that said, let's jump in. Once you decide to become successful and wealthy, one of the best forms of leverage is to study those that have made it and use what you learn from them to help you accomplish the same results. So looking at the Forbes 400 wealthiest list, immediately something sticks out. The vast majority made their fortune in one of 3 ways or a combination of them. They either owned or built businesses, they either did it through investments like the markets, or they did it in real estate. Successful market investors understand that the two other areas, building businesses and real estate, they understand how those work, and they use those to help them gain their wealth and use the principles from those areas to help them succeed in the markets. They leverage them, right? They leverage the secrets from these areas to help them win at a higher level. A trading business should be the same. Otherwise, you are just creating a trading job for yourself. See, great businesses are a collection of systems and infrastructure that work symbiotically with each other and can continue to grow and produce on their own without the founder or the owner being there. Would you like to have a trading business that works for you without you having to be there every second looking at the market or worrying about your trades? Would you like to be able to better fund the life you want? I know you would. And with that in mind, the 12-minute trading system can be summed up in 3 simple steps. Step number 1, put the 67% odds in your favor before you ever make a trade. Real traders know how to find and maximize an edge. And that's what we do at 12-minute trading. In fact, I've often said we're kind of like Moneyball for trading. When I realized that you have a 33% chance of making money and buying, the first thing I thought was, who has the 67% chance? Because that's who I want to be, the sellers. I only sell options because it turns me into the house and not the gambler. I'm basically selling to the suckers in the casino, and the house over time always wins. When you sell something, you also get paid. So I'm always getting paid up front to take on any risk. And lastly, selling gives me control. Remember one of the secrets of the rich, right? Selling gives me control. As you're going to see in just a few minutes, when I take you through the double-double strategy, I don't have to be right in calling a stock or market direction. I play in the margins where the others don't. All right. Step number 2. Increase those odds by having a solid, tested set of rules for entry, defense, and exit. Over the years, I've developed specific criteria for entering trades that helps me to maximize my trades, giving me an over 90% win rate. And I track all of my trades going back to 2013 and publish them for all of my students to see. But with an over 90% win rate, that means that less than 1 in 10 will have an issue or get in danger of being attacked. While it happens rarely, I've got a whole set of defensive rules that I employ that helps me to ensure that I stay profitable. And lastly, I have clear profit targets for exit that I stay disciplined with. All right, step number 3, focus on consistent cash flow through base hits and not home runs. I focus on consistent, repeatable returns, or what I like to call base hits, that I can achieve over and over again. These base hits add up to home run-like returns over time and make for a nice, consistent cash flow business without the typical roller coaster ride of winning on one trade, giving it back the next, and so on, like most traders experience. I have proven that these strategies can and do win over 90% of the time, even in bear markets. In fact, as many of my students know, year to date, many of our strategies, including the double-double, which I'm going to share with you in just a few minutes, have not had one losing trade. And that's the power of selling options, because you don't have to be right. You don't have to call a direction, and you don't have to hope for it to work out. You can make money no matter what the market does and no matter which way a stock or index goes. And yes, you can do it in less than 12 minutes a day. And for some strategies, I trade just once a week to achieve my goals. All right, so to sum it up, by just choosing to sell options, I put the odds of my favor of 67%. I increase those odds to over 90% through how I enter and manage trades, including using my proprietary indicators and time-tested rules. I effectively become the house selling to the suckers in the casino, creating consistent cash flow from the markets, and I do it in less than 10 to 12 minutes a day. And you can do it too. I had to work a good old Rob Schneider cameo in here somewhere. Hopefully you're starting to see the power of looking at trading this way. And this brings me to part 3, the 12-minute trading double-double strategy. There are 5 different strategies that I employ as part of the 12-minute trading weekly advisory service that cover everything from weekly cash flow every day, right? Selling in options every day, to passive hands-off income over 6 to 8 months. I'm going to show you one of the most popular strategies, my double-double, for monthly income. All right, so what is the strategy? The strategy is an iron condor strategy designed to maximize cash flow. It's designed to stock the odds in your favor for income over a 4-week or less period. Of a target return of 4% on risk. It's traded every single week. The trades are set up on Sunday evenings in 10 to 12 minutes as good to cancel orders. They typically fill Monday AM, and the actual average time that I'm in a trade is 2.1 weeks. So why is it called double-double? Well, the strategy is designed to double the trading capital allocated to the strategy in the course of a year. Simple math, if I'm making 4% minimum return on risk every 2 weeks, that compounds to a little over 100% a year. Now, obviously, that's the goal. As I mentioned, with a 90+% historical win rate on my trades, that means not every trade is going to work out. But how many of you would be happy with a 70% return? Or 50, heck, maybe even 30% on your money in the course of the year, spending 10 to 12 minutes once per week to set up your trades? Most people would be. So let's talk about how these trades work. Okay, as you can see on the screen, I've got a chart up there, and I set up these trades on the indexes or index ETFs using the SPX, the NDX, the RUT, SPY, IWM, Qs, and the DIA. I prefer using the SPX, NDX, and RUT. And the reason I prefer that is they are European style options. So you don't have to worry about any early assignment or anything like you do with American style options. This is the chart of the SPX that I grabbed on Tuesday of this week. Working with my mastermind group and other professional traders, we've done an exhaustive analysis of max movement in a given time period for each index. So I actually know the max move up or down over the last 5 years for all the indexes in time frames ranging from 1 day all the way up to 5 years. So if you were to say, hey, Dave, what's the max move on the SPX for 3 months? I can tell you exactly what the max move up or down the SPX has done in a time frame like that, right? So remember me talking earlier about increasing my odds, not just by selling options, but my rules for running the trades. This is part of increasing those odds. I look for the chart that allows me to place my trade outside those max move levels and still pay me my 4% return on risk. Also, do you remember from the beginning me speaking about the simpler we make our trading, the easier it is to win? I only use 2 indicators, the Bollinger Bands and my proprietary energy indicator, which you see at the bottom of the chart there. Here is why I like the Bollinger Bands. They act like the ropes of the boxing ring, and typically when the price gets to them, the bands throw the price back in. So think about a boxer getting hit up against the rings, right? It bends, but it doesn't break, and it throws the boxer back in the ring. The Bollinger Bands work the same way. So for the double-double strategy, I like to set my trades not just outside those max move levels that I spoke about, but also make sure that they are outside the Bollinger Bands on the weekly chart. So as you can see on the SPX weekly chart on the screen, the upper Bollinger Band is at 43.13 and the lower is at 35.21. The trade that I use for the strategy is an iron condor trade. So for those of you that do not know what an iron condor is, it's simply selling a call spread and a put spread on a stock or index that's the same size width and in the same cycle. So for example, for this trade, I'm going to use the December 16th cycle, which is about 4 weeks out in trading days. And the example that I'm going to use is a 10 wide iron condor on the SPX, meaning that I'm risking $1,000 per contract. My goal is to make a minimum of 4% or $40 per contract. And I do different sizes of these each week, ranging from 10 to 50 wide. Since I know that I need to be outside the weekly chart Bollinger Bands and also outside the max move parameters, which you can see on the screen are 43.83 on the call spread side and 34.88 on the put spread side, my job is to see if there's a setup that allows me to do that and get my 4% in net credit. All right, so when I look at the options chains, which I did on Tuesday evening, I can see that I can sell the 16th December 2022 34.25 by 34.35 put spread for $35, 35 cents a contract, which is well below that 35.21 on the lower Bollinger Band on the weekly chart, and also well below the 34.88 level based on max move data. In fact, the example that I'm going through now, actually pretty close to probably the actual trade I'm going to share with the students in this weekend's newsletter. You'll also notice that although my target on the trade is to make 4%, I'm selling this side of the condor to pay me 35 cents. But remember, I have the other side to still sell and get paid on. This is one of the great benefits of the iron condor, which I'm going to expand more on in a second. But first, let's discuss the call side. All right, so when I look at the options chains, I can see that I can sell the 16th December 2022 4400 by 4410 call spread for 40 cents, which is well above the 4313 upper Bollinger Band on the weekly chart, and also well above the 4380 level based on the max move data. As with the put side, although my target on the trade is to make 4%, I'm selling this side of the condor to pay me that 40 cents or 40 bucks. So my total credit from some of the iron condor is 75 bucks per contract or 75 cents per contract, which is a 7.5% return on risk of my $1,000 contract, right? And that's the beauty of the iron condor. You can profit off the same risk on both sides. A lot of people will sell put spreads or just call spreads, and these can do well, but they're missing the leverage. Remember, one of the secrets of the rich, the leverage of the condor, allowing them to profit from that same amount of risk on both the top and bottom side. So one thing that people ask me is like, well, if you're going to do that, doesn't your broker set aside the money, 1,000 twice because you have those two different trades? And the answer is no. It doesn't. And so why doesn't the broker set aside $1,000 in risk for both sides of the trades? Well, if you think about it, if you're going to lose on the trade, and losing is where the price of the underlying goes through your sold strike and your spread. So it would have to come all the way down to, those levels down there at, 34.25 and 4,400. It would have to hit those levels. That's how you would be into a losing position in this trade. You can't be in two places at once at expiration. It can't be on the bottom side and it can't be on the top side at the same time at expiration, right? You can't be in two places at once. So your broker doesn't make you double the capital requirement for the trade. And that's another form of leverage that allows you to make more on the trade. If you remember, again, one of the secrets of the rich was they look for leverage to help them succeed. I like to get 70 to 80 bucks per contract on a 10 wide condor in the double strategy because it allows me to exit earlier by using some of the credit to buy back the trade early and then turn around and put that money back to work with another new double trade. Remember, I'm in these about 2.1 weeks. And that's why the average time, is less than the 4 weeks that I've sold it to. Every day that the price is not at the strikes of the condor, because they're an option trade and have time limits to which they expire, they're losing value. And after a couple of weeks or so, I can buy them back for 10 to 20 cents, exiting that trade early, ensuring usually more than my 4% goal. And, once I'm in the trade, there's really nothing for me to do but let time work on it until it exits per my exit orders. Now, of course, I do have trade management rules, defensive rules that I use to ensure success on the trade if we were to have a massive trend to get to these different levels. But I don't have that much time to go into these today, but hopefully you can see the power of the simple strategy to create a monthly income in an easy, consistent way with minimal effort and babysitting each week. So let me sum this up for you. Per my analysis of the weekly chart Bollinger Bands and max move data, I choose the best index and index ETF to sell the double iron condor on each week. I sell in 4-week cycles using the weekly and regular monthly option cycles. I set up my trades as good to cancel orders on Sunday evenings. I target a 4% return on risk for the trade and typically sell my positions to give me a little buffer of that credit. I use that buffer to buy back the trade for 10 to 20 cents, usually in about 2 weeks. Once in the trade, there's really nothing I need to do but let time work for me until I exit. So what are your risks? Right? Well, one of your sides, as I kind of alluded to before, could get attacked, causing you to lose that side of the trade. It's not impossible, but the double is set up from the start with an over 95% chance of, or better in a lot of cases, of winning. And I have those defensive rules that I employ well before being attacked and ensure that I can either exit for a profit or win the trade. With all that said, can you see the power of this type of strategy? Can you see that it can give you leverage in the market and allow you to create a steady monthly income instead of just buying a stock or an option and hoping that it goes the way that you want it to? And can you see how understanding the system can help you give control or gain control over your income and provide returns? And lastly, and most importantly, can you see the power of using a strategy like the double to create an investing system that can work for you consistently with just a small amount of effort each and every week? You can have a professional trader-like business without having to spend professional trader-like time. Using the power of leverage and focusing on utilizing trading strategies that take me 12 minutes or less per day to manage, I figured it out and now trade the system and strategies such as the double that I've shared with you, allowing me to enjoy my life, create great income, and do it from wherever I want in just that few minutes a day. So a lot of people ask, how does this break down to 12 minutes? Well, it's pretty simple. 6 minutes to analyze and check the charts for the key levels in the Bollinger Bands. 2 minutes to check the options chains to make sure they are giving the required return. 1 minute to set up the trade. 2 minutes to check in and see where it is filled. 1 minute to add my good to cancel exit order. And truthfully, most days it takes less than that. And it can be done from your iPhone or smartphone, wherever you are. Okay. All right. So with that said, let's summarize everything from today. In part one, we talked about how the successful and the wealthy think differently. The successful and the wealthy do things differently. We talked about the 4 secrets that set the successful and wealthy apart. And lastly, we discussed the power of bringing these together to create a winning system. In part 2, we talked about how the super rich make their money. We talked about how top investors learn from the business and real estate worlds, and they use that information to help them better succeed. We learned the 3 steps to create trades that win over 90% of the time. And lastly, you learn that by setting up a trading business built on selling options and stacking the odds in your favor, you do not have to be right and can still profit. In part 3, we reviewed the double-double monthly cash flow strategy. We discussed the leverage of iron condors and the benefits of them when used for a strategy like the double-double. We discussed how this can be done in 12 minutes or less each week. And we also discussed how you can easily set up and manage the strategy from anywhere using your smartphone, creating consistent income in the markets. By now, probably a lot of you are wondering about this. What if I told you that you could put the secret of the rich to work for you, of leverage, and have even more leverage in everything that I just went through could be packaged up, done for you, and delivered on a weekly basis to your inbox, complete with video analysis, trade setups, and access to me and my team? Would you be interested in that? Well, that's what we provide our students in the 12-minute trading advisory weekly service. You literally get to look over my shoulder and trade alongside me and my team each and every week. The service includes 5 different option selling strategies, from selling weekly options for income, monthly options like the double-double, up to 6 to 8 month cycles designed to be pretty much set it and forget it as much as possible. The goal is consistent passive income with little to no effort. Base hit after base hit. I am not your home run guy. And if you're new to this style of trading, we provide all the training that you need, as well as live sessions with me and our other experts throughout each month to help you learn and become successful. I got to say, I have worked really hard over the years to make the 12-minute trading weekly advisory service the most comprehensive and best value in the marketplace. And just to reiterate, we deliver everything. It's a service that includes 5 different short and long-term strategies, tested and proven to work in any type of market, a weekly advisory newsletter complete with the market overview, and my personal trade setups that I'm doing each week. I do not share any trade that I am not personally in with my money. Weekly video analysis of the market and trade setup, so that you can look over my shoulder, you can see exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I go through and walk through each trade in that video. I walk through the markets. I give my analysis of everything to help you accelerate your success in learning the strategies. I do a midweek update every single week with a trading game plan. It comes out every Wednesday at 5 p.m. And I trade alerts for any move that I make on any of my trades. We do that via email as well as text and everything, so you get that instantly. And I do that prior to me taking action. So I say, hey, I'm going to do this with this trade. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's the exact moves that I'm going to make. I send that out before I ever take action on it. And a comprehensive student portal complete with video training on every aspect of each strategy and other resources to help you improve your trading skills. And as I said, we do live training sessions each month where I teach on the different strategies, where you can attend, you can ask questions, you can get guidance, and we do special members only events. And we do all of this just for $97 a month. That's it, $97 a month. And as a special gift for attending this event and spending time with me today, I'm giving you a free 2-week full access trial of the service. After that, if you want to continue, it's just $97 per month. You can cancel at any time. You literally have nothing to lose. One contract of just one of the trading strategies that I do every week pays for it. All you have to do is go to www.12minutetrading.com/ST. So www.12minutetrading.com/ST. So I'll come back on now on video, pull this over here, and any questions that you guys have, I am happy to answer and walk through. So please ask away. Looks like there are some in there. So I never thought I'd be a 1%er. Don, you could be a 1%er. So I want to take in $8K a week with the Condor. I'd have to buy 100 contracts for each spread and be at risk for about $99K if the market blew up either way. I'd have to do the math, but you could, if you're doing 10 wides, yes. Now, if you're doing 25 or maybe even 50 wides, it's obviously less contracts. The amount of capital is going to, depend on some of that. The whole point, though, is risk is the biggest thing that you manage in a trade. Look, any idiot can get into a trade. That's the easy part. Anybody can execute entering a trade. The risk management side of what we do is the most important. So we spend a lot of time on that, right? I don't lose trades, and I don't lose trades not because I'm some magician or anything like that. I don't lose because I have a very good set of rules that I've put to practice over the years. And if something's not going to go my way, I exit for break even or better. And I can also, with these big wide condors like this, it's really easy to move them if you get a trend to one side, right? So let's say we get a 10% trend. Believe it, we got almost an 8% trend on the NASDAQ just over that last week or so. And I had NDX ones that I simply just moved it up a little bit in the cycle. And it's, highly profitable, probably close out. It's for December 2nd, probably close out in the next 2 trading days. So there's little easy ways to manage these things. So it's, you would have to be really derelict in duty and not pay attention and not even looking at your trades for weeks on end to get into a position where, you could lose anything with these. And at the same time, you'd have to get, in a lot of cases, a 15 to 20% sustained trend in the span of like a week or two to even get into a position where you got to move things. So yeah. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit, Don. Any other questions, guys, that I can answer for you on this? Does it make sense? Is there anything that I covered that maybe you still have questions on, you're wondering about? I know it's a little different way of looking at things, a little different way of, trying things, but I'll tell you what, that's why we do the free all access trial. You get access to everything. You can go through all my videos. You can get access to my energy indicator loaded onto your, your Thinkorswim and stuff, and really kick the tires with it, right? So, we do the CC for the trial because after the trial, it automatically will convert to the paid subscription, but you can cancel at any time. You just go into your account and hit the cancel button and you're done. It never bills you. So I urge you guys to kick the tires and see if it's for you, right? This style is not for everybody. For most it is, but it's good to, really go in, see what it's like, go through a couple weeks. In fact, newsletters come out Sunday at 5 p.m. So first newsletter you get come out this Sunday. And then we've got some live sessions coming up and stuff too. You can join those and see how we operate and do things. And again, if it's not for you, it's not for you. But that's why it collects the CC, because it'll kick over to after the 2 weeks. So sure thing, Don. Yeah, you like to do that too on the SPX? Yeah. So SPX is really good for it because it's highly liquid, right? The options are really good. NDX I love too because you can get really, because of the volatility in the chart, you can get really wide condors on it. It doesn't, sometimes the liquidity is not as good if you're going to go right to expiration. I never do, but I've heard people say that. The Russell's actually not bad either. Russell's actually been a really great chart to trade in this market with these strategies. So see if I missed any others up in here. What level of understanding of options should one have to do these? It's a pretty basic understanding. Again, we give you the training on it. And I actually, in my weekly videos, I walk through, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's the mechanics of the trade to make sure, because we get people signing up all the time of varying different levels. And so I kind of approach it like, okay, I've got new people on. So I try to show the mechanics of the trade, what I'm doing. So if you've got a basic understanding of options, you'll be just fine. Even if you have never traded options before, the thing I will urge you to do is sim trade a little bit, right? Do a paper trade, get it used to the mechanics, go through a couple cycles. And after that, you can start putting on, your live contracts and stuff. I think that's the best way for any strategy. Honestly, even if you know what you're doing, doing some sim trading, maybe, small contracts with larger contract sim trading to start as you get used to it and get into the groove and then get going from there. My goal is 4%. So it's 4% per week. So, what is a loss at what percent? Does it wipe out 3 or 4 trade gains? No, my rules are really specific, right? So I've got a specific static risk level so that if any one side of that condor hits that level, that's when it triggers me to move the condor. And so if I have to, let's say I get attacked to the top side and that static risk level is hit, it's way before it would even ever get close to the strikes. And so that's when, like, you get an alert from me, hey, I'm going to move this up, guys. I'm going to move this to this level on the top side. I'm going to bring the bottom side up, by X amount, still giving me a 95% chance of winning or better. And that's going to pay for, if there's a cost for me to move this thing up, that's going to pay for it. So I'm at break even. And sometimes I make up a little bit more credit doing it that way. So again, it all comes down to the discipline of it. Once you get it, the rules are actually pretty straight and easy to follow. It's just the discipline of doing it. I know people that get a little greedy and they want to stay in and stuff. And, the key to a great trading business is you got to stick to your rules. Yeah, sometimes you could have stayed in a trade, maybe made a little bit more, that sort of thing. But hey, I'll take winning consistently over time any day of the week. I think the thing that derails traders the most is they go outside their rules, or they don't have any rules, and it gets them into trouble, right? And really, a great trading business shouldn't be super sexy or even that exciting. It should just be like water dripping on a rock. Every single week you just put the trade on, you're taking the trade off for a profit, putting it on, taking it off for a profit. So that's why I said, I'm not your home run guy. If you're like a gambler and you want to try to get 1,000% on, 25 cents in the next 17 minutes, like, that's not my thing, right? That's not what I do. That's not what I teach, right? I've taught a lot of people what I do that have gotten in trouble doing that, lost a lot of money doing those type of things, but I'm just not that type of guy. So let's see. I don't have auto trading. So the trades, so every Sunday at 5 p.m., my newsletter comes out with all my trades for the week. If I'm going to make an adjustment to my trades, like say Monday morning, we have a big gap up or something like that, like especially this happens like on my weekly trades, right? When I'm doing just a 4 or 5 day iron condor using similar principles, but I have the weekly, I have the monthly, I have the longer ones. So, I'll send out an alert pre-market, text it out to everybody and say, hey, I'm going to make some adjustments to these trades, or hey, I'm going to pull them, I'm going to let the market open, see what it does. And then I'll send you an alert as to what trades I'm going to do after that. So I communicate a lot. I'm pretty active with that. I think, students, I get a lot of compliments on, hey, you really, help hold our hand and help us to know what's going on. I think that's important in a business like this. I've owned a lot of businesses, guys. I built a lot, I've done business in almost 100 countries around the world. And, communication is one of the most important things at this point in my life. I'm very fortunate. I've been able to sell a lot of those businesses. In some ways semi-retire if I want to. And I just love doing this. I love teaching this to people, and having that first time somebody's like, man, I just made my first $500, on a trade this week. It was so straightforward. It was like this breakthrough. Like, I live for that. I live for teaching people how to create, the financial independence they aspire to in a easy, consistent way that isn't complicated. It just takes a commitment and some discipline. And I'm an entrepreneur to the core. Anybody that knows me or heard of me before, I run a big podcast that's listened to 150 countries called the Misfit Entrepreneur Podcast. And, I really got a goal to help, entrepreneurs, in the world, and help people bring out that entrepreneurial spirit, because I think it's one of the most innate things that we have. So for me, it's, I just love doing this with you guys, and it's a lot of fun for me, and I enjoy helping people have these breakthroughs. So I know it's kind of a long-winded answer, but Don, so yeah, email, text, all that. And again, I alert everything before I ever make the trade, right? So I don't make the trade and then say, oh guys, I just did this. I know services done before. It pisses me off. It's a pet peeve of mine, because you've missed it by then, right? So I always will alert ahead of time. So the name of the podcast is called The Misfit Entrepreneur. You can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, everywhere. So it's called The Misfit Entrepreneur. So see if there's any others that I missed. So yeah, guys, I check it out. Kick the tires on it. 12minutetrading.com/ST. Take 2 weeks, see what we're all about. Ask your questions. You can ask questions to me right in the portal. I answer questions. My team we're on it. We typically answer same day. If anything, it's less than 24 hours. So, we really try to make sure we get you everything you need to help you get better. That's the goal. So. All right. Any other questions? Otherwise, I know I'm the last one of the day, so I can let you guys get if you're on the East Coast like me, get to your dinners and stuff like that and your families. So go ahead and ask now if you got them. Otherwise, I'm going to turn it back over to David. Oh, you're welcome, Tycho. Well, you got it, guys. Love to see you in there. Love to see you. Like I said, you'll sign up today. You'll have the newsletter coming out, this Sunday at 5 p.m. So love to see you in there. And thanks for your time. I appreciate it. And, I know it's, late for some people, early for others and stuff. So thanks a lot, David. I'll turn it back over to you. And again, everybody, thanks again.